I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're thrilled to introduce you to Christina Hardy. She is the brilliant author behind a wonderful book, an important book. It is called Colourful Foods and Activities for My Body and Mind. This engaging book transforms healthy eating and active living into a vibrant adventure for kids and their families. It is packed with fun activities, delicious recipes, and creative ways to promote wellness. Christina's book is a must-have for every household aiming to boost their child's health and happiness. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful and important book. The links are below this interview. Christina, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight TV.
Thank you so much, Logan, for having me. It's gorgeous to connect with you on Spotlight. Thank you.
It is gorgeous to connect with you as well, as you say in Ireland. Let's talk a little bit about the crisis that is plaguing the Western world, and that's obesity. It's fueled, I think, by processed foods and a lack of exercise. Modern day living is killing us. Don't you think, Christina?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have it. You've hit the nail on the head there. I guess I suppose, it only takes, a trip to the supermarket or to any activity with a kid, and you are bombarded with processed foods.
Mhm.
So I guess I suppose, you would say, parents are in charge of this, and it's up to the parents to actually have, the right foods at home. But advertising has a key role to play in it as well. And, the supermarkets where foods are purchased, and processed food is just so quick, it's so readily available, and it's so tempting at this. It's there at every opportunity outside of the house. So yeah, and it does contribute to obesity, and that coupled with lack of exercise. We've become sedentary. I think COVID opened our eyes a wee bit. Because the most Googled search was healthy diet, maintaining, healthy exercise. And some people, kind of really had a shift during the COVID times to really start to mind their bodies and look after their bodies. But it also then did lead to a bit of a sedentary lifestyle at home as well, working from home. But I think that there is a bit of a shift, and there is a bit of a spotlight on healthy eating now and beginning to move the body. And that's why I felt it's so important to write this book. And here is the book, Colourful Foods and Activities for My Body and Mind, so that kids from an early age can start to see the impact that food has on their bodies, on their health, and also activity has as well.
Absolutely. The title of your book says it all, Colorful Foods. Having a plate that's filled with bright oranges, bright greens, bright reds, that's going to be a healthy plate. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, well, my book was, I guess, I suppose, inspired by my work as a nutritionist with adults, where I see that we're often wanting quick fixes, whether it's for a diet to lose weight or for a diet to reduce cholesterol or blood pressure. We're kind of often, and in that particular word diet, therein lies the problem,
Mm.
because we kind of think, a diet has, a restrictive nature about it. It also has a timeline associated with it. Whereas when you actually start to talk about healthy habits, that's a lifestyle change. They're habits for a lifetime. You may have used one of those healthy habits today. You may eat a wee bit more sweets tomorrow, but actually that habit stays with you. So I was inspired to write the book from having worked with the adults, and they do say that children lead the way, and children are the future. So I think if we begin to teach our children from a young age about eating well and how to do that, but also to have it in an interactive book format that they can actually do that with their parents, teachers or carers, then we're more likely to actually have parents teach children and children teach parents, and have that kind of relationship, as we go.
It's great advice. Don't make it a diet, make it a
So that was
lifestyle.
the inspiration behind the book.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you want to eat more fruits and vegetables every day, period. You want to eat fewer or no processed foods, period. It's as simple as that. Processed foods are tempting. They're sweet, they're salty, they're greasy, they're satisfying. And I get it. I understand it. When I go to a restaurant, the first thing I pick out is something like a burger or something like that. And I always take my second choice instead, which will be
Okay.
the salmon and broccoli and rice, and brown
Yeah.
rice, not white rice. So you have to sometimes disregard your impulses and do what is a smart thing. Let's talk a little bit about the gut-brain connection that's discussed in your book and why it's important for kids to understand this.
Yeah, the recent research, really over, I suppose, the last 20 years has shown us more and more that there is a massive connection with our gut and our brain. So first of all, 70% of our immune defenses are housed in our gut. So when our gut isn't working properly, it's going to be impacting our brain and vice versa. Also, there is a huge emotional connection between our gut and brain as well. So you would often, feel maybe a little anxiousness in your tummy when you feel nervous, for example. And the way I describe this in the book is, if a child is going to talk in front of their class and they feel butterflies in the stomach, but as an adult, we might say something like, that doesn't sit right with me, or I don't like the taste of that,
Right.
or that feels heavy on my stomach, So there is a massive emotional connection between our gut and brain. As well as that, immune connection as well. So housed within our gut is our bacteria as well, which helps us digest food, ward off viruses and all of that type of stuff. And when we're eating a lot of processed food, not enough colourful foods in the form of fruit and vegetables and fibre, we're going to have a gut dysbiosis, which is an overgrowth of bad gut bacteria. And that, in a lot of research, has shown to have an impact on things like depression and anxiety. So there's the link. It kind of goes both ways. And also the foods that we eat help to make our neurotransmitters, what help us to feel calm, to feel motivated, to feel excited. It's amazing. So food actually turns into a precursor to our neurotransmitters.
Right.
Therefore, a lot of the time we think, feeling happy and motivated is down to outside circumstances, but actually it's really down to the raw materials we take into our bodies, as well as our emotional health as well. And that's why, part of my doing the book is empowerment to help us to bring back our health to ourselves, and to stop looking outside of ourselves for, I guess, validation, but also for our health. Like we are the writers, the directors of our own health. It's our body. There's 8 billion of us on the planet, and we will never have a single human body like our own. So it's best sitting with us, and it's really to try and empower people to take back their own health, and to do that first of all with nutrition, then exercise, then sleep, and then mindfulness. Those 4 pillars of health will have you onto a great place in your overall health.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And it's interesting as you talk, I was thinking about this. There is an epidemic these days of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. There's also an epidemic of mental illness where people are suffering from
Yeah.
depression and anxiety and phobias. So there really has to be some kind of correlation there between what we're eating, what we're doing to our bodies, and what we're doing to our minds. And I do think you have the secret recipe there. It's what you eat, how much you exercise, how much you sleep, and mindfulness. It's a great overall prescription for everybody across this globe. Let's talk about what are some practical tips for parents to incorporate more colorful foods into their child's diet.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I think to bring them out at each meal. So by colourful foods, we mean fruit and vegetables as much as possible. So at every opportunity, a meal and a snack, bring them out. So, you know, for breakfast, berries on top of the cereal. A smoothie is a gorgeous way. So, you know, bananas, berries, a bit of yogurt, a bit of chia seeds thrown in there for the good healthy fats at lunch and, you know, at dinner as well. So always think colour on the plate. You know,
Yeah.
that's a very important one. And I think also not to bombard your child is that your child they'll always have their favorite fruit or vegetable and try a new one each time. You know, so that the favorite food is given and it's not a complete surprise, you know. And I think with parents leading by example, you know, there's a lot of pressure on parents, all right, and there's a lot of pressure on carers and, you know, teachers, but leading by example is the best way to help your child to eat well. And also at the supermarket, if you have colour in your basket when you check out, you're more likely to have a healthy food in there. Because typically a lot of the processed foods are beige in colour. When you think about it, they're kind of like white or beigey kind of colours, high salt and high sugar. So if you've got colour in your basket at the supermarket, you're onto a winner in your health as well.
Absolutely. And don't buy junk. I mean, if you buy the Oreo cookies and the Doritos and the chips, the kids are going to eat it. It's too tempting. So just don't have it in the house. I think that's
Yeah, yeah.
a good rule of thumb.
100%, but you can still have fun food, as I say. Do
Yeah.
you know? I think like 80%, if you think 80-20, which is the rule for a lot of things in life, 80% of the time you eat really, really well, really healthy. Think about it like the 5 days of the week. And then at the weekend, you let go a little bit, you know, so you can have, fun food for celebrations. You don't shy away from cake just because there's a birthday. Because then, at that stage, you can teach kids to become fearful of food and to actually grow up in the dieting culture of being worried about calories and all of this. But if we can teach kids from a young age that literally the colourful foods, along with, you know, good quality fish and meat and vegetables, and, you know, can actually keep your body healthy, make, you know, it's the raw ingredients to be able to make, you know, I guess your cells in your body work energetic and healthy, then a little bit of cake or a little bit of chocolate here and there is not going to make any difference. You know, it's just not every day, if
No,
possible.
don't have dessert after every meal, but once in a while, like you said, a birthday or at a party, or even once a week, you can have a cheat day and have that
Yeah,
ice cream cone or have that piece of cake or have a taste of the cake. You really don't need the whole cake. Uh,
that's it.
explain that to a
Exactly.
kid sometimes that's tough.
Yeah,
One other
yeah,
question for you. We live in a culture where this is all people do.
yeah,
How
yeah,
do we
yeah.
break the addiction of screens for our kids and get them moving? How do you lure them to go outside and play again?
Yeah, and I think, you know, and again, it might sound like there's awful pressure on parents, but again, leading by example. You know,
Mhm.
if we are, my phone's right beside me, but if we're doing this and this, you know, the kids are going to be looking at us as well. So I think it is a whole family. And you do tend to see this. You see, you know, fit parents, fit children. Do you
Yeah.
know, it's a whole family thing, you know, that you would actually go out with your kids. So, you know, I do go on the trampoline with my wee girl and
Right.
just, you know, jump around, have fun. Have
Mhm.
fun with your kids, bring them out, you know, allow a little bit of, again, that 80-20 rule, allow a little bit of screen time, but not, you know, not all day long, if you like, you know. So I suppose with screens, especially at nighttime, the blue light emitted from phone and iPads and from TV screens and whatnot actually interrupts our neurotransmitters, which help us to make melatonin, which helps us to sleep. So you might find that yourself, or, you know, any adults listening, that when you're looking at your screen late at night, you know, your sleep actually is impacted. So that happens for our kids as well, you know. So it's actually about kind of looking at that, you know, and kind of really kind of getting knowledgeable on that and being able to impart that knowledge. The same way I'm imparting knowledge to kids in the book about, you know, how the colors in their food help their body function. we also have to kind of start to learn ourselves about the phones and the screen time, you know. I just think leading by example, get groups out, you know, get them, you know, into groups that aren't big into the screens as well, you know, talking to other parents, I think as well, is helpful, you know.
There's a variety of activities out there that are a lot more fascinating than scrolling through TikTok or Facebook. I think
Yeah,
once kids are out there playing tennis, out there playing baseball, swimming, running, whatever it is, they'll do it. And I also think you hit upon something else. If you have a fit parent, generally you have a fit child, even with partners. If you have a fat or obese person, generally they'll be with an obese partner because they're having a similar lifestyle, you know.
yeah,
So it's
that's
it
it.
is important to lead by example. Before we leave today, I want you to share a little bit about your background and how it influenced your approach to health and wellness that you display in this book.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking.
Sure.
So I grew up in Donegal and in Ireland, and I guess I suppose I was of the generation who grew up. We had sweets and we had, you know, biscuits, you know, probably once a week or, you know, maybe twice a week. But generally, our food was very, what I would call normal,
Yeah.
you know, so meat, chicken, eggs, fish. My dad was a fisherman, so we had lots of fish and variety of fruit and vegetables as well. Um, but my mum would make homemade brown bread. So again, I think it's kind of like bringing it back home, cooking
Mhm.
food at home,
Yeah.
making your own food at home, and you kind of get a love and a respect for what you feed to your body. So I suppose that's where I learned my foundation from, you know, both my parents and from eating very, very natural, normal food. When I was I think in America, you call it like high school, like after, you know, 13, 14 is it, yeah. So here in Ireland, it's called secondary school. I was so taken by the nutrients in food and what they do for our bodies. I was
Mm.
just a complete nerd about that. And I wanted to go on to study home economics teaching, but I didn't quite get the grades. So I veered off to do chemistry and then a little bit of finance. But my love for nutrition and what it does for the body just would not leave me. So 10 years after leaving school, I retrained as a nutritional therapist. And I suppose that story is in the book. What you can, again, I want to be inspirational to kids is to always follow your heart, follow your dreams, you know. And you know, when you're working on something you're passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life. It's just it's your heart, you know. So
Exactly.
really, that's where my background came from. To say that I'm, you know, always been great with food wouldn't be honest. You know, I had my college years when I, you know, had the drinks and went out at night, had the processed foods, but I did see an impact on my health, a
Sure.
negative impact on my health from doing that. You know, so as I said in another book, I went from eating fish to drinking like a fish, as you do in college. You know, you have an extra
Right.
few drinks and whatnot, but I seen an impact in my stomach in particular.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I cleared up my diet again, and when I got really, you know, started to kind of really home in on what I was eating, all of those issues went away. You know, so I have learned, you know, from having good quality foods as a child, being passionate about that, to going, you know, slightly downhill in that and coming back and reversing that again, that actually food and nutrition is key to healthy body, healthy mind.
Without a doubt. It is dinner time here in the States, and you talking about your dad catching fresh seafood and your mom cooking homemade brown bread has got me absolutely starving. And I think I'll have to find an Irish pub here in the States tonight that has
I
some
think you
brown
will.
bread and some seafood because it sounds absolutely delicious. I will skip the shepherd's pie, however, because it's a little too processed for sure. Christina
Yeah.
Hardy is the brilliant author behind a wonderful book. It is called Colourful Foods and Activities from My Body and Mind. It is an engaging book that transforms healthy eating and active living into vibrant adventures for kids and their families. It is packed with fun adventures, delicious recipes, and creative ways to promote wellness. This is a must-have in your house, whether you have kids or not, because this is a complete game changer. Follow the advice in these pages. You will notice differences not only in your appearance, but how you feel physically and mentally. Christina, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and all the team as well. Thank you.
I appreciate your time as well. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.